you the last thing because for sure it's something I'm very interested in your own music, meteorology. Um, First question is like, when did you start playing guitar? Have you like played since you
Ooh.
were a kid or something? I'm
Uh,
just curious.
I want to say I have this real fuzzy.
Yeah,
I'm bad with memory
yeah,
and dates and everything like that. Anyway, but it was when I was like an early teenager. I got into
yeah,
guitar at like maybe
yeah.
13,
That's
maybe
like
14, something like that.
pretty standard for most of us
Yeah.
when we get pick it
Now
up.
that's guitar though.
Yeah,
So I got my
yeah.
first
You got
drum
into
set
a
when
lot
I
of.
was 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
And I was never very good at it. You know, I could keep up with ACDC,
Yeah,
right? That's
nice.
kind of that's the goal
So
when
is
you're
that
five
your
years old.
first instrument or your first, yeah, musical
Yeah,
at all? Was
yeah.
drums?
Technically, it was a drum set,
Yeah.
and I never got very good at it.
Hmm.
At like 10 or 11 years old or
Yeah.
something, I then got a bass.
Okay.
So, and I, again, like you said, you're not really in a position to write songs,
Yeah.
but I could learn a few
So
songs. I
you
could
could,
learn some
yeah.
simple bass lines and everything.
I
So yeah,
remember,
for the
yeah.
longest time, everything that I was playing was just entirely like rhythm section
Hmm.
stuff. And then what eventually happened was I realized how badly I wanted to write songs. I wanted to
Yeah.
be a songwriter
Hmm.
and I wanted to be a band leader or something.
Right.
And so it eventually got to a point where I was like, I need to get a guitar.
Hmm.
I need to be able to write things with chords and melodies and be
Hmm.
able to write songs. And, by that point, my mom didn't even want to buy me a guitar because she's like, well, I
Yeah.
bought you a drum set and a bass. So you didn't do anything
It's
with
like,
them.
yeah.
So the compromise was that if she bought me a guitar,
Hmm.
I also had to agree to sign up and take lessons.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, at like 13 or 14 years old, whatever, I got my
Hmm.
first guitar. And like later that week, like traded my bass for my first electric guitar
Yeah.
at the same time. I got an acoustic to learn on,
Yeah.
uh,
Nice.
and then I also was signed up to take lessons
Hmm.
and stayed with that for years
Wow.
and
Yeah.
learned just kind of through like it was in the back of Rawson's Music,
Okay.
over
Yeah.
Southside.
Yeah. I've been there before. Is it still open? I think it is.
Rawson's, I think, is still
Yeah.
open. I would be shocked if the guy I learned guitar from is still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he at the time was this older,
Right.
really advanced jazz dude named
Yeah.
Mackie. I have no
Nice.
idea what his last name was, but his
Yeah.
name was Mackie. Uh,
That's awesome.
he had this remarkable ear.
Hmm.
He could learn anything by ear in the time it took to listen to the song.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I would bring in. I would bring in like a cassette tape of just
Yeah.
like all my favorite songs.
Yeah.
He'd listen to the song, figure it out
He
by
could
ear,
teach
teach
you.
me how to play all of it. But his approach was always, because again, being a jazz guy,
Hmm.
you could bring him any song. No matter how badly I wanted to learn that guitar solo,
Hmm.
he wasn't going to teach me the solo.
Yeah.
He would find the key, teach me
Yeah.
the key,
And then you.
and then give me the tools to improvise and take a solo over it, right? So
Yeah.
he comes from the jazz world of now this is when you take a solo.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like you don't. Yeah. Just rip off somebody else's solo.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
genuinely, I learned "Stairway to Heaven" from him, and he taught me the whole song,
Yeah.
and
Except
then
the
just
solo.
taught me the key to solo in.
Yeah.
And that was always his mentality, and I loved that. And so that was, it wasn't just like tablature or something like, okay, cool, you
Right.
play this and this and this to play these chords.
Hmm.
That was his way into. He would learn a song and then go, cool. So you're going to play this chord and this chord. He would teach me the chords,
Hmm.
build things out from the songs I wanted to learn, and it was awesome. And that's how I learned everything. And after a while, I ran out of songs I really cared to learn. And he said, well, what about theory? Do you want to learn some theory?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And so we went up through, at least intermediate bebop theory. All stuff that I have now completely forgotten.
Yeah.
But
Because you don't necessarily play like a jazz. I don't listen to your stuff and think jazz at all. I mean, you mentioned you love jazz,
yeah,
obviously,
but I mean,
but it's
I listen to more jazz and more ambient than probably anything else at this time.
Mhm.
And then if you can ever find me anything that like crosses those things over, I become obsessed with it.
Yeah.
There's an album from Portico Quartet called Terrain
Yeah.
that is the exact nexus between
Yeah.
ambient and jazz,
So would
and
you
it's my
say-
favorite thing.
So is that kind of your influences, or what is it like? I mean, specifically with your style, is there anything like that you listen to and you want to try to emulate with that, or I don't know? It's just
Yeah, always. I mean,
because yeah, your style is very like ambient, like you said, definitely.
the stuff that I've released so far
Yeah, I
is
guess
for
yeah.
sure. So, like right now, I'm kind of in between like phases of meteorology, and the next phase is all going to be like shorter song-oriented
Yeah.
stuff with
Okay.
vocals.
Yeah.
Everything I've released so far, and the album that I released this year, is
Mhm.
all really long-form
Mhm.
experimental instrumental stuff. My biggest influences on that end of the spectrum
Mhm.
are all the post-rock
Yeah.
bands. Like
Yeah.
Godspeed You Black
That's
Emperor is,
that's what I was thinking because it's very like solo-y. Like I mean, your
yeah,
in your stuff, it's just like you're kind of just soloing the whole time almost.
it's a lot of, well, some of it especially,
Yeah.
Start Where You Are is
I was
primarily like
listening.
three separate kind of
I
guitar
was listening
solos.
to like the first thing you put out. I think it was 2023 on
Oh,
Spotify.
that, yeah,
It was
that a
like
long time ago was
it,
13 months.
I don't know if it was if I just remember I don't know the name specifically. But it was like a 20-minute song
Yeah.
track. Yeah, and it was like something recorded in the bedroom.
Yeah, yeah, 13 months live from the
Okay, okay.
bedroom.
I thought it was great too. 'Cause I put it on and I almost just I was like doing something else and I almost like you just get lost in it. It's great to
And I
listen
really
to. And
appreciate that. And that's probably the one that's the
it's
most
yeah
Godspeed You Black
yeah
Emperor-ish,
okay
because it's got a lot of like noise type
yeah
stuff in it, and it kind
I
of,
thought it was really cool.
it turns in and out from that.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of explosions in the sky.
Yeah, I love that
Everything that I
too.
ever do for my entire life will draw from Sigaros, which is my favorite
Oh
band on
yeah,
earth. They're
okay.
they're, they're my favorite band ever. And everything that I do, one way or another, draws from Radiohead.
Yeah,
They're maybe the most influential
yeah,
act maybe for
for
me.
sure. Would you say like especially the next phase, like you said, are you trying to go towards that type of those like Radiohead
Yeah,
style
for
a little
sure. I
bit?
mean, I'm the kind of artist that every song is kind of its own thing, and so
Yeah,
every song will have like its own
yeah,
set of influences.
okay, yeah.
I've got what I think is going to end up being the first single
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to drop, and then I'm hopefully going to kind of try to push a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Try to get some, yeah.
That one to me is real Radioheady. It's
Mm-hmm.
real In Rainbow Z,
Yeah,
King of Limsy kind of
that's
Radioheady.
cool.
And then the other song that will likely come after or be somewhere else around there is almost entirely pulled from Dawn Chorus from Tom York. It's a
Mm-hmm. Oh
solo
yeah,
Tom York track
okay.
that's one of my favorite. I became obsessed with this song and ended up kind of
Uh-huh.
doing my own kind of thing with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really just, I was in a band, was in like a rock band, a kind of
Okay.
prog rock band for 17 years.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't realize that. I always assumed that this was kind of a new thing for you to get out and perform, but you've been
No,
performing for
this
much
yeah,
longer than
this
I
is this has
realized.
always been. I mean,
But this is
the
like
music
your
community here. Yeah,
this
meteorology
is
is.
your first thing that you're doing, like with you writing and doing that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
or
well, I mean,
you're
by myself,
right.
yes. I've never released anything else solo or attempted anything
Yeah.
else solo that was outside of the name Meteorology.
Okay.
No, I was in a band for about
What was the name
it
of
was
that?
called it was called Saturn.
Oh, I remember I've heard of them. I don't know that I ever saw you guys though, but I remember from my band days in the like early 2010s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember the name.
I mean, and even by then we had been together for a really long
Wow,
time.
yeah. I
Uh,
didn't realize that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So that was about 17 years, and then there was a smaller little kind of interstitial thing we called the Echo Wire.
Hmm.
That was still myself and my brother on drums. We had a
Mm-hmm.
different bassist at the time. And we dropped a couple singles. I think we did like maybe two singles, and then
Mm-hmm.
that just, things just, the post COVID world has just been real
Yeah.
complicated. It did a number on a lot of people's brains, a lot of people's mental states, and
Mm.
uh, so I don't know. My band performing days are kind of, I don't know if they're on hold. I don't know if they're behind me,
Yeah.
whatever. But I was kind of given the opportunity to develop something of my own when
Mm-hmm.
Jarvix launched Mental
Yeah.
Mondays.
Okay, yeah. It was Mental Mondays, and then they started doing Weirder
Yeah,
Wednesdays,
it
which
turned into Weirder
that's
Wednesdays. But
awesome.
but at first, for about like a year and a half or something like that, it was Mental
Mm-hmm.
Mondays. like the fourth or whatever Monday of every month at
Where was that?
Hubbly Bubbly Hookah
Okay, yeah,
Lounge.
yeah. Because
Uh,
they used to do an open mic there
yeah,
too for a little while.
they used to do a lot of stuff. They just
Yeah.
really the only reason that it even changed and went to the Opolis to be Weirder Wednesdays was just because Hubbly Bubbly decided to kind of go in a different direction with their
Right.
programming. But he decided he was going to do it, and he just like put out a thing on Facebook or whatever to say like, hey, who do I know that does solo experimental acts? And I had never done anything like that before, but knew that I had been thinking about it and kind of wanted to, and just said, I think I can. And he was like, he messaged me like privately and was, okay, cool. I'm doing this new showcase. You'll be the first artist on the first night. And I was like, ugh. Okay, well, bill me as Meteorology. That's a name I've been wanting to use for a long time. And not only did I want to use it, but I had already like dug in to see, and like nobody else was using it.
So it's available.
And I'm like, well, now like if it's available, I have to. You know, I have like a responsibility
That's cool.
to.
It's a good name, especially for the vibe. I mean, it kind of, I don't know why it fits with the style.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that, and also
kind of a weird, trippy kind of. I don't know.
Well, and also, you know, it's a name. It's a name that's really, really close to me, partially because it's a little bit about where I'm from.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot about, like I say, I have really serious storm anxiety. And so it is, you know, it's like, you know, Batman dresses like a bat because he's afraid of bats, right? And I'm like, okay, we'll call him afraid of the weather. So it's Meteorology. There's also, admittedly, there's another layer to it that a lot of people don't seem to pick up on. Like everybody loves to do all kinds of weather imagery and stuff to it. In my mind, it's just as much a reference to the Weather Report, like the old jazz fusion band, but really it's a reference to the Weather Underground, which was like a kind of underground leftist organization in the 60s and 70s. And so it does kind of
has some like under
there's a lot of political implications to it, which is something that I'm deeply invested in. And
it makes sense. I like it. It's definitely I love that. Like anytime there's like a name that has like some thought put into it, it's more than just like, oh, it sounds cool.
But I mean, you know,
I think it that resonates and makes it better.
These days, every name is taken. It's impossible to come up with a new cool one.
I know, for sure. Especially, coming up with band names. It's like the worst part. I mean, there's a lot of bad things about trying to put a band together. The name is probably my absolute least favorite part.
That's why I just decided to run with that one when it was available. And people seem to dig it, and they respond to it and everything.
It's a good name.
And then that's why I named the album Every Last Monday. Because it was my tribute to Mental Mondays. So all four of those long form pieces on that album were individual pieces that I wrote and performed for Mental Mondays. And the shot on the album cover is a shot that a friend of mine took of me in the middle of the first ever performance of Competitive Martyrdom. So that's actually, I can look at that picture and know what part of the song I'm playing, actually, which is cool.
That's awesome.
And so so then wherever I go from here is anything I want it to be, because it's just me.
I think that.